everyone, and welcome to this episode of Food and Health Talks. Our special guest today is Mariëtte. She's the CEO and the founder of Qina, an agile consultancy platform that specializes in personalized nutrition. Qina's mission is to develop the next generation of nutrition solution that will have impact on people's lives. Mariëtte has been working in nutrition space for over 20 years. She has a BSc in nutrition, an MBA, and a PhD. She currently lives in Portugal with her husband and two children. Mariëtte, it's so nice to have you on the show today. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Sola. Thank you, Sola.
So how is it out there in Portugal? I know it's warm with you while it's snowing on this hand. So
yes. We are always blessed. We get about 350 days of sunshine.
Wow.
So while it's a little bit chilly, it's still sunny. So we have no complaints.
Yeah, looking out of my window right now, it's snowing, it's white, and it's very beautiful. Sometimes I explain to people that it's magical, even though it's cold.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yes,
it's very much thankful for. So yeah, today we're so glad to have you. I've had the opportunity to connect with you at our conference, the FoodNiche Global Conference last year, and getting down to sit with you and learn more about you, your journey, what you're doing at Qina, and the future you envision is just exciting. So let's get started by allowing our audience to learn more about you. Tell us a bit about your journey to where you are today.
Yeah, so I have had a very interesting journey so far. I get asked a lot if I was one of these people that planned it, completely all the way, and I'm always smiling because I never planned anything in terms of my career. It really evolved organically, and that was really I think a lot of it comes from my experience, my upbringing. So as a child, my father was very involved in politics. So I was born in South Africa, which meant that I actually grew up in Europe, and then we went back to South Africa when I was 12. And so we always had a very traveling, very, exploratory exposure in our childhood. And so that really shaped the way I always see the world and approach new projects. And so in school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And the career counselor said to me, well, you're really interested in health. And you're always healthy, and you're always watching what you're eating. There's a career, it's called dietetics. Why don't you do that? And so I thought, okay, well, I'll do that. And I got into university at Stellenbosch in South Africa. And so that really got me interested in the kind of the science and really the power of food on our health, on our happiness, on how we learn and how we move, and really how what we eat can really shape how we thrive or not thrive throughout our lifespan. And then I got very interested in the clinical aspect of nutrition. And then I ended up leaving South Africa, going to London, working in the hospital for 8 years, very much specialized in gastroenterology and surgery and intensive care nutrition for anybody that needed, specialized support. And then I got a bit tired of that. And then I ended up working in the medical nutrition industry, which really was my entry into the private sector. But I took my experience of management and clinical nutrition that I learned in the hospital, and then had to apply that in the industry setting. So that was then a completely different career path, I would say. It was a different industry. But that's, again, got me very interested at that time in the power and the potential of technology. How can we use technology to help more people, because as experts we are few, and therefore how can we leverage technology to make it more accessible and to make it more relative and relatable to the average person who just wants to live a healthier life. And that's what really got me into personalized nutrition. So then after I left London, moved to Portugal and started consulting and my company. And so now it's completely a combination of my nutrition background with my business degree. And then I did a PhD as well, which is really focused around how can we empower more the healthcare professionals who are very reluctant to adopt new technologies into the modern healthcare system so that we can enable and empower more consumers to manage their own health. And that's really where I came, and I'm sitting with you today.
That's so great. I mean, you've gone full circle with this. This is really exciting. And talking about empowering people, you know, people understand the concept of nutrition and optimizing health with nutrition, but they want to take it a step further to say personalized nutrition. So can you break that down? What exactly is personalized nutrition?
Exactly. And I think that you're right. There is a lot of confusion about that, is because the way we were trained, personalized nutrition was understanding who's sitting in front of you. Yeah. What are their background? What are their social determinants? What's their income? What is their lifestyle? What's their family life like? What is their work life like? What kind of, how does culture and religion, you know, how does that feed into how they choose and select and cook and eat in terms of their health? And so that really to us is personalization. Yeah. So if you need advice on how to improve, prevent disease, manage a health condition, or just optimize your health, but that is completely relative to your life. I'm not giving you a sheet that I give to the other 50 people. This advice that I'm giving you today is personalized to you. And so I think that is really the key message that I always want to bring over to people, is that personalized nutrition means that it's the advice, the dietary advice and the lifestyle advice is personalized to the health goals that you would like to achieve, but that are also measurable and have a health or a behavioral outcome. So you don't necessarily have to have a test to know that, you know, you should eat more fiber in your diet, but understanding which foods you are prepared to eat so that we can get you to change your behavior and eat more fiber. That is also personalization. And so I think the message is personalized nutrition is understanding who's sitting in front of you or who are you talking to and how you can tailor that advice so that you can take action to improve or maintain your health.
That's spot on. Thank you so much. And you know, when I think about what you just explained, personalizing nutrition for individuals, was like you mentioned, everyone is different and their needs is also different. So that brings in personalized medicine as well. Do you see a connection here? And if you do, can you expatiate a little bit on both angles, how they interact or how they relate?
Correct. Yeah. And then they are completely linked, because in my view, personalized medicine is the mothership. Yeah. That is the trend. That is the goal. That is where healthcare is going. But healthcare, or how we define health, is based on different pillars. So personalized nutrition is one of those pillars, because how well you eat and what you eat defines how healthy you are. So personalized health is directly linked to personalized nutrition. How much you sleep, how stressed you are, you know, how physically active you are, your mental health, all of those define how healthy you are. Yeah, which can be different for different people, but personalized nutrition per se then is therefore one of the core pillars of personalized health.
Wow, that's great. So let's talk a bit about your work. Let's talk about Qina, you know, and what you do and how you accomplish your goals. Tell our audience a little bit about Qina.
Yeah, so Qina, I'll start off with the name. So Qina it stands for a Zulu word, which means be strong. And so what I really wanted was a company that stands strong in the face of, you know, adversity and science and this shift. It's a fundamental shift in terms of how we manage our own health, how we manage our nutrition. The fourth, you know, industrial revolution. We are at this amazing time where technology, health, food, science are all coming together, as well as society. And so Qina is really born out of this need that we saw, that although we are so incredibly well trained, we are very well trained to deal with sick people. Yeah, we know what recommendations to give when people have diabetes, when they have heart disease, when they have, when they have cancer, for example. But we don't empower people enough to prevent the disease. Yeah, we don't empower people enough with the health and the nutrition and the food literacy for them to be able to get there much earlier. And so Qina then we really saw that although we have great clinical skills, we have great scientific knowledge, the average person is using their smartphone to find the answers. They're searching on Dr. Google to find the answers. They're not necessarily directly going to a dietitian or booking a dietitian or asking their GPs, can you refer me to a dietitian, because it's commonly associated with being sick or wanting to lose weight, which is not necessarily the case, and certainly not the only way we are trained. And so there is really a gap in connecting the dots between what the consumers really want and what they are really looking for, what the science is saying and how that's evolving, and what solutions the industry is developing to serve to consumers, essentially. So what we wanted to do is be that that connection, that bridge between the consumers, the frontline healthcare professionals who are dealing with, who understand what kind of problems, issues, barriers, challenges consumers and patients have, but then also linking that with the science and with industry. So we understand what happens on the ground, but we provide those insights and the scientific angle, I would say, and feed that into the development of new solutions. So the apps, the platforms, maybe the functional food products that you see. And so we make it real. And so we have these three areas, I would say, of the business, where we analyze the market and we say, okay, well, the microbiome is an area that is growing rapidly, and this is maybe what consumers really want. Yeah, they are looking for ways to improve their health, and what specific things they are looking for, and what they are searching for online. Yeah, what are they going to their practitioners for and asking them for? But then there's also the area of domain expertise. Because we have a scientific background, we can say study XYZ was published in this year, and therefore these are the data sources that we need to use to then feed into developing those new solutions. And then we also conduct research, because we combine what consumers are saying online. Yeah, so we can do it in a survey kind of a way and ask you, hey, do you cook with olive oil? Do you exercise 5 times a day? But we can also use unstructured data, such as app reviews, or what are people asking on Reddit, or any of these publicly available information, to get real world insights. Because people lie. Yeah, if you ask them one questionnaire, they may lie. And so in an unstructured way, you can get very good insights about really what bugs people, what solutions they are really looking for, and that can then be combined with the survey to then say, okay, these insights really match, and this is really where a problem is. What we also find is that in the industry, there are great companies, for example, who don't necessarily have that nutrition expertise component in-house. So they will, we provide that expertise to them. But from our point of view, we also see historically that there is a real gap in the representation of diversity in the science. So we start there. So you say, okay, well, you develop a platform that or solution that provides recommendation. Well, is that recommendation really relevant in Mexico as it is in Singapore, for example? So from an ethical point of view, from an inclusion point of view, from a equity point of view, we make sure that we are that voice also, not just nutrition about what you should be eating, but holistically, are we improving the health of everybody? Are these solutions going to be equitable and accessible to everybody? And that's really where Qina is.
That's really great. So yeah, you also focus on affordability as well, because sometimes it's not accessible to people, not because they can find the technology, but because they can't
Yep.
afford the technology, so,
Correct.
and that leads me to my next question. We talk about personalized nutrition, we talk about personalized medicine, but really, when it comes to really reaching the consumer, not just the elites, not just the top 1%, not just the educated ones, the highly educated ones, but reaching the masses. What
Yep.
do you think the future holds? What do you think innovators like you and I can do to help um, accelerate that process so that it would not be a few, but it will be the masses that have access to tools that can help them learn and take actions about their health, optimizing their health through nutrition?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I do think that one of the key things that we've learned is that, motivation is a very, very important thing. Yeah. So if you are motivated, then we already know, okay, we can work with that. Yeah. We can work with that. We can try and understand how we can, mix and match. And this is where the Qina platform also comes in, because we have curated the database in a way that not only the very expensive products, for example, are listed. They are good products that potentially are very lower price or can be accessible or can be reimbursed. And so, but the healthcare professionals are not aware which ones they are. And so they can't recommend them. And so you can also filter by price, for example. And so I think an important thing is awareness, first of all. Awareness not only from the consumer side, and that once they are motivated, that they know where to find more information about, what is available. That's the first thing. The second thing is there's a big lack of involvement of consumers and healthcare professionals at the ideation phase, not as in I've developed it and let me know what you think. From the beginning, who should we be targeting and which problems should we be solving? So consumers should also be proactively involved in, whether it's nonprofits or organizations, or voice their opinion to, product makers to say, actually, this product doesn't suit me because of X, Y, and Z. And so we really need more involvement to make sure that more products that are making a health impact get developed, so it doesn't only stay with the elite. And the third one is that we also, from an industry point of view, need to push players, stakeholders, to develop different products at different levels. Yeah. So yes, you do have the very expensive, testing that, costs $300, $500, $2,000. But of the ones that are interested, what other resources, where are you pointing them to? Is there, a way to improve education? So I think, signposting people, even if you're not going to offer a product, you can signpost people to very relevant, nutrition sites or health improvement sites that I think can help area. But there should be more of that, and people should know where they are. And so I think everybody can do more. I do think at the moment it's still in the realm of the early adopters, but because we have more awareness now is the stage we should say, this is the toolkit, X, Y, Z. Yeah,
Right,
here's
right.
the tool. These are the options that you have. And now we need to understand better, what kind of a person are you and what are your health goals? And then you start from there, rather than just pushing products and solutions onto people.
Right, right. And when you talk about Qina, do you have, so you have a database. So is it accessible to professionals alone, or it's something that the masses and general people can use? Is it something, if they gather the facts from it, can they understand it? Or is it something that refers them to scientific literature that it's better suited for experts? That can digest this kind of information. So what category does it target?
Yeah. So at the moment, Qina is only for healthcare professionals and industry players. But that's not to say we are going direct to consumer, but we are first focusing, because we only launched the platform last year. But because we see there is a need, and we see that, there are over 350,000 apps in the App Store. So there definitely needs to be some kind of easier way to know which, products would suit you better. So at the moment, Qina is only for healthcare professionals and industry.
Okay, that's great.
On a subscription basis. Yeah.
That's great. And also, so do you have anything in the pipeline for general nurses, or you just refer them to other solutions that are available out there for everyday people to use?
Yeah, so at the moment, we don't have anything for consumers. What we do have is a newsletter, which really summarizes kind of which innovations are now on the market, or which ones have expanded, and what is the latest research, what are kind of consumer trends, and that is free and open to anybody to sign up to. And that is really the only one on the market at the moment, I would say, or available, that only focuses on the personalized nutrition industry, simply because there's actually so much happening every single week. So that is it's a weekly newsletter that we do publish, and that is free.
That's great. So let's move right along to talk about some tools that people are using today. We've talked about their apps, their web application, mobile applications. There are just different tools that people can use, number one, to learn more about themselves, to learn more about what they can do differently. So I know there's some kits that will ask you to send your blood sample, or some fluids, they could be saliva or something, to them. They will analyze it and send back to you some things that you're deficient in, some things that you should focus on, some foods you should avoid, some foods you should eat. Let's talk a bit about those type of applications and what it really means for the future of personalized nutrition, and what should people really know, what should they look out for? Share your thoughts about this type of apps.
Yeah, I mean, I think apps are a great way to get started. To get started, to get familiar with the kind of digital play, I would say, in your daily life. Now, I do think that you need to be very realistic in terms of what you take on, because I think sometimes people download it, I'm gonna, log in every day, I'm gonna log on, track what I eat all the time, and then and I mean, it's just not, and it comes back to that motivation. If you're not ready, it's better not to do it, because you don't want to set yourself up for failure, and you also don't want to, feel like you didn't achieve anything. So I think that instead of going very complicated from the beginning, start really early. And I think now is a great time at the beginning of the year to just say, okay, let me just understand a little bit better. So I think, apps that help you to log, just logging what you eat is already an educational thing for people. So they can literally see, what am I actually eating? And maybe what is the nutritional analysis of that? Or maybe what is my diet quality, for example? Should I be eating more green? What does my plate look like? So there are tools that can help you just to be more aware. Okay. This is not putting you on a diet. This is just be more aware of what you are actually eating. Many people who don't actually know, they know they are eating, but they don't know how much they're eating in terms of, or really understand the quality of the diet that they are eating. So I think that's already a great, no test required, snap and learn. I say snap and learn and see what is that nutritional breakdown. Then I think it's also very good to get some idea of, once you fill in some questionnaire, the questionnaire ones are easy because you can understand kind of, what your diet is like now, what the quality of your diet is right now, and how you then track over time. So then it can say, well, I know you eat this lasagna twice a week. Why don't you, add a salad with that? And so it can give you little nudges so that it's not such a huge, many people go into, improving their lifestyles, and they're completely throwing out the cupboard, going for signing up for the 5K run. And, the ambition is really high. And so therefore, in this way, you can make really, really small tweaks to your diet that you can then integrate, which are way more sustainable, and you can do that in the long term. And so those kind of tools can really nudge you towards healthier behaviors. So you have the meal logging and tracking ones. Then you have the kind of it's not a meal replace, but more as a meal recommendation ones. So it can help you to make your recipes a little bit healthier. Then you can have a meal planner one, which can then, once they understand how you eat and what you like, is then to recommend you a meal plan that you can follow. Because we make about over 200 decisions about food every day. So what you're going to eat for dinner is going to be quite important. And if you don't have it already set in your mind in the morning, I feel, then you're in for trouble when you get home. So it's a kind of, reduce the barriers, reduce the challenges, reduce the talk in your head, and then being able to plan ahead is already a great skill. No tech required for that. Just be more organized, because too many people have such busy lives, they don't get the time to actually sit down and think how and how much and what they are eating. It's eating on the fly, eating really quickly, and just shoving in whatever is readily available or by the stretch of your hand. And then you have the more, I would say, ones that also help you to shop healthier. So whether you look at what your cupboard looks like now, what are the alternatives that would suit your health goals in terms of you and your family? So whether it's, reducing the amount of sugar that you're having, reducing the amount of salt that you're eating in your diet. Many people do not know how to read labels, for example, or even though they read a label, you don't only eat that product. Yeah, you eat a meal. So you're going to have that plus 5 other things in that meal. And so it's really understanding, how do you compose a healthier meal, and how can you make those little tweaks, easier. So those apps, I think, are great ones to get started off with. Then if you get the higher level of personalization, which is including a blood test, for example, that I think is really nice, because then you can actually see your transition over time. So whether you had, very high sugar levels now, or, whatever the case might be, high cholesterol levels, then you can kind of see over time, okay, when I changed my diet, switched over those foods, made a healthier alternative of my favorite meal, went for 2 walks around the block, actually my blood markers changed. And I think that's a great motivator for people to objectively see, yes, what I've done. I may not have changed on the scale. Yeah. My skin may not have changed just yet, but actually something's happening within my body. And I think that is very important for people to get that feedback and that data, that objective evidence that something is happening. And if it happened really fast, it's probably not very healthy. But the fact that something is shifting is your starting point towards your longer, healthier future. And that's where I think. So I think the more testing at the moment, not only in terms of apps, which are still quite labor intensive. You still need to take a picture. You still need to enter your food in the diary, for example. But in the next few years, it's going to become more easy to log. So we just recently did an article on voice logging. So you can just talk and say, hey, I've had my oatmeal this morning, coffee with some low-fat milk and a block of cheese. And it'll start analyzing that. So the technologies are going to become less intrusive. It's going to become much easier. And of course, with that improved experience, it's going to become much more enjoyable for you to submit your data on the longer term, so you can see how that is impacting your health overall. So I do think that within the future, and this is where food and health collide, is that we will understand much better what food does to our bodies. Yeah, we will understand the impact the food has on us individually. You and I completely respond differently to a slice of food, to a slice of bread, or a piece of banana, and we will know that. So that next time you say, okay, well, I won't have a banana, but now maybe the apple is better for me, but maybe not for you. So once people have that understanding in a very slow transitional way, our next generation will be able to feed our families better, and will understand exactly what works better for us as individuals, and eventually for us as a community as well, because healthier people and families will lead to healthier communities. And then hopefully
it's a healthier world.
There won't be a healthier world.
That's great. And the interesting thing is, I agree with you. These tools that we're having on the market pretty much every day is making it a lot easier for people to be aware and also be informed about what is going on within them and how they're playing a role in this. Because I think the bottom line is each person knowing that I have a role to play in my health outcomes. It's not just fate. It's not just genetic predispositions alone. I have an active role to play here. And final question I have for you is trying to connect the dots here to personalized medicine, personalized nutrition on a practical level, because there are
Yeah.
tools on the market today, apps and web applications alike, that some of them work with insurance companies, some of them work with physicians, some of them actually require you to have a prescription from a physician to use their application, whether it's to manage obesity, or type 2 diabetes, and just different illnesses that are related to weight gain, food and food dietary patterns. There are different apps like that. They make recommendations on the type of food. This food does not have to be considered like junk food or unhealthy food classifications. It could be normal foods that dietitian could recommend to people to eat. But this particular person, because of some of the information they've gathered from either it's microbiome analysis or from genomic analysis, they will say, oh no, you shouldn't be eating this, or should you eat less of this and eat more of this so that you can enjoy yourself better. So there are some tools like that. And I'm thinking that these tools might play a very huge role in personalized medicine, scaling it to consumers. At scale to consumers. So I want to just get your thoughts on this current, it's new, it's very new, but it's exciting. And I just want to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very, very important point, because there is a distinction between what is lifestyle and what is medicine. And so for lifestyle, you can easily get, a test that says, okay, maybe your vitamin C is a bit low, or hey, I don't know, your vitamin D is low, or you could benefit with some omega-3 supplements. That in overdosing, of course, is still dangerous, but in the grand scheme of things, you get that from your food anyway. Okay. Now, if you get to the medical side, now you are not dealing with somebody who's just interested in, straightforward nutrition, I would say. Now you're dealing with a chronic condition on top of that. While technically speaking, it is also healthy eating, you are dealing with a medical condition. And therefore, that should always have the oversight and the final tick and the human element of an expert, a healthcare professional. And so there is a clear distinction. And from my point, what I've seen from the research is that even though we have these advances in apps, platforms, digital tools, the best significant impact is when there's an expert and a digital tool. You cannot have one without the other. And I think so the effect is bigger because you have the human element, and the human element can tweak the recommendation to make sure that it's personalized to you. You can check that it's not dangerous for you, to check that there isn't a veering off the recommendation, so you inadvertently pick up something else that you weren't supposed to pick up because you just follow the app advice. Because like I said, there are a lot of experts who are not involved in the making of these apps. So you can take the current data and then spit out a recommendation, for example, but you need the human element to fine tune and to just fact check that information is correct. So I do think there should be, especially when it comes to chronic disease, there should be an expert checking point. It shouldn't just be
an application,
say, on this side of the pond willy-nilly. You shouldn't just say, hey, this is a diabetes app, I'll just go for it. No, I don't. But if it's just, I want to increase my fiber in my diet, I want to reduce on the sugar, that is more the prevention side, that is more the health promotion side, that is more, a lifestyle approach, then I have no issue. And I think more people should have access to the information so that they understand, what does fiber do in what is the importance of protein in your diet? What is the importance of vitamin C in your diet? But when you work where things can go wrong, it does need the medical intervention. And we've seen a growth, rapid growth in telehealth, obviously because of the COVID pandemic. And that is great. And I think that will stay. But now we need to make sure that while we have the telehealth, we also empower people with the other tools in the same time, how to shop healthier, how to eat healthier, how to be physically active, but still it's not a paternalistic system where, well, you come to me or you don't get the advice. Yeah. Now it's come to me when you've got the question and I'll check it. I'm here as your coach and your cheerleader, but the recommendations that are given need to be fact checked.
That's great. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. One of the things we talk about a lot when we have experts over, there was a time we had physicians over to talk about food and health. We always tell people that it's very important to check with the healthcare provider on any dietary changes they want to make, because when we're talking on a platform like this, we're talking generally. We don't know your specific health conditions. We don't know what medication you're on. We don't know anything. So if you run away with one fact that an expert talked about and something in the food, about active compound in the food, interacts with the medication you are on in an adverse way, that could be a problem. So it's always good that people talk things through, major changes in diet or major changes like that with their healthcare provider who has specific access, full access rather, to their health profile and medication information and all that before they make those changes. So yeah, absolutely. Agree with you. Yeah, so we're wrapping up. It's been great talking to you. And before we wrap this up, I want to get your final thoughts on the future that you see. What future do you envision? When you think about healthcare as a whole, factoring in personalized nutrition, factoring personalized medicine, what do you envision 5 years from now or 10 years from now? Where do you think we'll be, and how can we accelerate that?
Yeah, I always think, what, we're gonna look back in 10, 20 years from now and think, how did we give nutrition advice like so out of the air, like we didn't really know anything? We're going to look at why did we wait for people to get sick? Why did we allow people to get sick when we actually knew all along, or deep down, obviously there's something that you can't do anything about, or maybe that you can't prevent, but largely, why did we not intervene as the minute the child was born? We should know what the circumstances are and make sure that we help, we support, we enable, we do everything to make sure that everybody has a long and healthy life. So I think the future is really about understanding at a deeper level how people work, how they function, and how we can make society healthier. I think food will be healthier because it will be consumers will demand it right now. So in 10 years time, consumers will be able to mix and match what works best for them and have that tailored to their exact needs. And the other thing is, like I said, I think we have longitudinal testing, for example, whether that's through sensors, whether that's through a chip that always talks and gives feedback and say, hey, now it's time to walk around the block. Hey, drink your glass of water, and feed that back, so we can pick up, heart attacks, or we can pick up a change in, blood metabolites, or whatever the case might be, much, much earlier. And I think that'll be the key for us to live longer with a high quality of life.
Right. And I see us getting there because, people are really, really into innovating in the health space. So it's exciting, and looking forward to seeing how things unfold. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for making time to connect. Me. Yeah, it's really great. And to everybody listening today, until the next time when I bring another exceptional guest your way, thank you and stay safe. Cheers.
Thank you.